Everyone wants a good life, but most people are never taught how to build one. We chase after money, jobs, recognition, or comfort, thinking those things will magically piece it all together. But the real formula, it's not outside of you, it's inside. A good life isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you design, something you build, and most importantly, something you become. You see, we don't get paid for time, we get paid for the value we bring. And the most powerful project you'll ever work on is you. The better you become, the more options you have. The more you grow, the more life opens up. Everything you want, better health, better relationships, more freedom, more purpose. It all begins when you begin. The good life isn't reserved for the lucky. It belongs to those who decide to grow, to take responsibility, and to invest in themselves. If your life has felt stuck, messy, or meaningless, you're not broken. You just haven't had the blueprint. So today, I'm going to give you that blueprint. A simple, honest, and powerful roadmap based on timeless principles that anyone, yes, anyone can use to build a meaningful life. Stay with me for the next few minutes as I walk you through the life-changing principles that can help you shape not just your days, but your destiny. Let's dive in. Number 1, increase your value to the world. Let's start with a powerful truth. You don't get paid for your time. You get paid for the value you bring to the world. That's a concept that can completely shift the way you look at your work, your income, and your future. Most people believe that if they just clock in, do their time, and show up, life will eventually reward them. But reality doesn't work that way. Two people can work the exact same number of hours, yet earn completely different incomes. The difference isn't in the time, it's in the value. Value is the real currency. And here's the best part. Value is not fixed. You can increase it. You can learn more. Develop new skills, sharpen your thinking, and become the kind of person who brings more to every situation. When you increase your value, everything starts to shift. New opportunities appear. People pay attention. Life responds. Let me give you a real example. Marco worked at a local coffee shop. He made minimum wage, and at first it seemed like he had no way up. But Marco had an idea. He started learning how to create detailed latte art. He practiced daily, watched videos, and improved his technique. Eventually, he launched an Instagram page, then started offering beginner classes to other baristas. Within a year, Marco went from earning minimum wage to being invited to coffee events, collaborating with brands, and teaching classes that paid more than a week's salary. He didn't just make coffee anymore. He created an experience. That's value. The takeaway here is simple. Don't wait for someone to promote you, give you a raise, or hand you an opportunity. Create your own. Become the kind of person who's always growing, always learning, always adding more value to the world. Study your craft, learn new tools, speak better, think clearer, show up with energy, discipline, and consistency. And you'll become someone people want to work with, buy from, and follow. You're not stuck where you are. You can climb. The ladder isn't locked, but each step up requires you to bring something better than the last. That's the beauty of it. Your future is in your hands. Raise your value, and you raise your life. Now let's move on to the next key to building a good life. Number 2, work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Here's one of the most life-changing principles you'll ever hear. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. That one sentence, spoken to me by a mentor years ago, shifted the entire direction of my life. At first, it didn't make sense. I thought success came from working more hours, taking on more tasks, hustling harder. But I learned that if you want more out of life, you have to become more. Because when you grow, everything around you grows. Most people focus all their effort on their job. They wake up, go to work, come home tired, and repeat the same routine year after year. And while hard work is important, it's not enough on its own. You can work hard for decades and still feel stuck, unless you're also working hard on you. The better you become, the more valuable you are. The more valuable you are, the more you earn, the more influence you gain, and the more options you unlock. Let me tell you a story about Daniel. He was working in customer service for a software company. He answered emails, dealt with complaints, and worked long hours. He was good at it, but he wasn't growing. One day, he decided to learn more about the product itself. He started studying user experience design in his free time. He watched tutorials, read books, and even started helping the design team solve small issues. After 6 months, they offered him a new role. A year later, he became a full-time product designer, earning double what he used to, and doing work he actually enjoyed. And all of that happened because he chose to develop himself, not just survive his job. Now maybe you're thinking, but I don't have the time to work on myself. I get it. Life is busy. But here's the truth. You don't need 5 extra hours a day. You just need intentionality. Use your commute to listen to a podcast. Spend 20 minutes a day reading. Start your morning with a few minutes of journaling. Practice your communication. Study people who are doing what you want to do. You don't have to flip your life upside down. You just have to start building momentum. Your job is not your life. It's a part of it. And it can either be a stepping stone or a ceiling. It all depends on what you bring into it. If you want your income to grow, your impact to grow, your confidence to grow, you have to grow first. Personal development is the root. Everything else is the fruit. And don't just focus on career skills. Yes, learn how to present. Learn how to lead, but also work on your mindset. Work on your health. Build emotional intelligence. Learn to handle stress better. Learn to listen better. These are the things that separate good lives from great ones. There's a difference between being busy and being intentional. A lot of people are busy, but they're not going anywhere. It's like running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, no progress. But when you start directing your energy toward becoming better every day, even just a little, you'll be amazed at how fast things change. Here's a practical step. Make a you plan, not a job plan, not a career map, a you plan. Ask yourself, who do I want to become in the next year? Maybe it's a more confident speaker. Maybe it's someone who's physically healthier or more financially disciplined. Then take a step toward that every day. It doesn't have to be dramatic. Just move forward. Little by little, you'll feel the difference. The world doesn't just need more employees. It needs more leaders. It needs more creators, more thinkers, more doers. And those people are the ones who constantly invest in themselves. So if your life feels like it's in a loop, if you're tired of feeling stuck, remember this. Your life changes when you do. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. You'll become the kind of person who doesn't wait for opportunity, but creates it. And when that happens, everything changes. Now that you understand the importance of personal development, let's go one step further. Number 3, turn mistakes into milestones. We've all made mistakes. Some small, some big, some we laugh about now, and some still sting when we think about them. But here's the truth. Your mistakes don't have to define you. They can refine you. Every mistake holds a lesson, a warning, or a piece of wisdom that can help you build a better future, if you're willing to look for it. The problem is, most people don't look. They try to forget their mistakes. They hide from them. They bury them deep and hope time will erase the memory. But time doesn't fix mistakes. Reflection does. The truth is, your mistakes are part of your education. They are part of the curriculum of life. No one gets it all right the first time. That's not how we grow. We grow by stumbling, learning, adjusting, and trying again. The most successful people in the world aren't those who avoided failure. They're the ones who used it. Take Emma, for example. She started a small online clothing business in her early 20s. She was passionate, excited, and full of energy. But she didn't know how to manage cash flow. And within a year, the business collapsed under debt. She could have quit right there. She could have said, "I'm not cut out for business," and walked away. But she didn't. Instead, she took a step back, got a part-time job, and started studying finance and business management in the evenings. 2 years later, she launched a new store, this time with a solid foundation. Today, that store is thriving, and she teaches other young entrepreneurs how to avoid the same mistakes she made. Emma didn't just fail, she learned. That's the difference. You can either let a mistake stop you or let it shape you. You can let it shrink your confidence or let it expand your wisdom. Here's what you can do right now. Think back over the past year. What went wrong? What decisions did you regret? What habits held you back? Don't judge yourself. Just observe. Ask yourself, what did that mistake teach me? What can I do differently next time? That's how you turn a mistake into a milestone. Because the truth is, every setback holds a seed of growth, but you have to dig it up. When I was younger, I wasted several years chasing quick money schemes. I jumped from one opportunity to another, never committing, always chasing. I thought I was being smart, but what I didn't realize was that I was running in circles. At the end of it all, I had nothing to show for it. But that season of failure taught me something I never forgot. Consistency beats cleverness. That lesson shaped how I approached every project from that point forward. And without that mistake, I wouldn't have learned it. Mistakes also teach you humility. They remind you that you don't know it all, that you still have room to grow. And that humility makes you open to learning, open to advice, open to growth. In many ways, your biggest mistakes are often the doorway to your greatest breakthroughs. If you don't slam the door shut, another thing mistakes give you is empathy. When you've been knocked down and had to get back up, you understand others better. You don't judge as quickly. You become more compassionate. And compassion is a powerful part of building a good life, not just for yourself, but for the people around you. Now, this doesn't mean you should go out looking for ways to fail. That's not the goal, but it does mean you should stop being afraid of it. If you're afraid to make a mistake, you'll never try anything new. You'll stay in the same safe zone, doing the same safe things, and wondering why your life isn't moving forward. Mistakes are a sign that you're trying. They mean you're learning. They mean you're alive. So don't fear them. Study them. Reflect on them. Grow through them. That's how you turn regret into wisdom and pain into purpose. So here's your reminder. The past is a classroom, not a prison. It's there to teach you, not trap you. Look back just long enough to gather the lesson, then step forward with more clarity, more courage, and more conviction. Number 4, learn from the experiences of others. If you want to build a good life, here's one of the smartest things you can do. Learn from other people. Learn from their stories. Learn from their struggles. Learn from their wins and their losses. Because the truth is, you won't live long enough to make every mistake yourself. You don't need to. Success leaves clues. Failure does too. And the people around you, whether they're mentors, authors, friends, or even strangers, can help you avoid years of wasted time. One of the fastest ways to level up your life is to find someone who's already done what you want to do and study how they did it, how they think, what they do, what they don't do, how they respond to pressure, how they bounce back from setbacks. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to pay attention. Let me tell you a story about Rachel. She dreamed of becoming a photographer, but she didn't have a degree, a fancy camera, or any connections. Instead of sitting around waiting for the perfect conditions, she started studying photographers she admired on social media. She watched how they told stories through images, how they used light, how they connected with their audience. She sent respectful messages asking for advice, and eventually one of them invited her to assist on a shoot. That opportunity turned into a mentorship. Today, Rachel is running her own photography business, doing the work she once only dreamed of. And it all started by watching, asking, and learning from others. Now, learning from people doesn't always mean you have to know them personally. Books, podcasts, interviews, and even documentaries can be just as powerful. I've learned life-changing principles from people I've never met, just by reading their stories or hearing them speak. You can treat a book like a mentor. You can treat a TED Talk like a classroom. The key is to stay open, stay curious, and stay humble. You can learn just as much from failure as you can from success. In fact, sometimes you learn more. Watch what didn't work for someone else. Why did their business fail? Why did their relationship fall apart? Why did they lose momentum? When someone shares their mistakes, don't just nod, take notes. Because when you're willing to learn from others, you get to skip the pain but still gain the wisdom. Now, there are two types of people you should pay close attention to. Those who are where you want to be, and those who are headed in the direction you don't want to go. Both are valuable teachers. From one, you learn what to do. From the other, you learn what not to do. They both serve a purpose in your growth. And when you do find someone ahead of you, someone you respect, someone who's walking the path you admire, don't be afraid to reach out, ask questions, offer value, respect their time, and be willing to listen. Mentorship doesn't always start with a formal request. Sometimes it begins by simply observing how they live, how they think, how they move, and then applying that wisdom to your own journey. Let's also talk about one of the biggest mistakes people make, assuming they know enough. That's a dangerous mindset, because the moment you stop learning from others, you stop growing. Stay teachable. Stay hungry. The best leaders are students first. The most successful people in the world are still reading, still asking questions, still improving. Why? Because they know there's always more to learn. Every person you meet knows something you don't. Every story holds a lesson. Every experience, whether yours or someone else's, has value. The trick is being wise enough to recognize it and humble enough to receive it. So here's your challenge. Pick one area of your life where you want to grow. Maybe it's finances, relationships, leadership, health, creativity, and find someone who's a few steps ahead. Study their journey, read their books, watch their interviews. Ask yourself, what can I learn from them that would take me years to figure out on my own? And then apply it. You're not alone in this journey. There are people who've gone before you. They've climbed the mountains, fallen into the valleys, and blazed the trail, and their stories, if you're paying attention, can help you build a stronger, faster, and more fulfilling life. Number 5, feed your mind. Let's talk about two of the most underrated habits when it comes to building a good life. Reading and journaling. They're simple. They're quiet. And on the surface, they might not seem like they can change your world, but they can. In fact, they often do. Because these two practices feed the most important tool you have, your mind. And a well-fed mind can create a well-lived life. Most people understand the importance of feeding their body. They'll spend money on good meals, supplements, gym memberships, and that's great. But what about feeding the mind? What are you putting into your thoughts, your beliefs, your imagination? What you consume mentally shapes how you think, and how you think shapes every decision you make. Your thoughts become your actions, and your actions build your future. Reading is one of the fastest ways to learn from the greatest minds in history. People spend decades mastering their craft, collecting experience, failing, growing, discovering, and then they condense it into a few hundred pages. And for the price of a meal, you can access that wisdom. That's not just smart, that's transformational. When you read, you expand your language, your thinking, your creativity. You learn how other people solve problems. You learn what's possible. Let me tell you about Angelina. She was working long hours in a job she didn't enjoy and felt stuck in life. Every day felt like a repeat of the last. But one day, someone gave her a book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. She read it slowly, and for the first time in years, her perspective started to shift. That one book led to another, then another. Within a year, she had developed new habits, started a side business, and regained her confidence. Today, she credits reading as the spark that changed everything. She didn't win the lottery. She didn't get rescued. She simply opened a book and fed her mind with better thoughts. But reading alone isn't enough. To go deeper, you need reflection. That's where journaling comes in. A journal is your private workshop. It's where you shape your ideas, track your progress, and listen to your own thoughts. It's where you turn confusion into clarity and emotions into understanding. Life moves fast. Journaling helps you slow it down. When you write things down, they become real. Goals become visible. Lessons become lasting. Patterns become clear. A journal helps you notice your own growth. You start to see how far you've come. You begin to identify what's working and what's not. Now, journaling doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need a fancy notebook or poetic language. Start simple. Write down what you're learning. What inspired you today? What challenged you? What you're grateful for? What you're working toward? Some of the most powerful pages I've written were just me asking myself honest questions and writing honest answers. There's something powerful about transferring thoughts from your head to the page. It clears space. It gives structure to your thinking, and it makes your growth visible. Over time, those pages become a map of your journey. They show your highs and lows, your turning points, your breakthroughs. They become proof that you're evolving. Here's a practical idea. Set aside just 15 minutes a day. Read 5 to 10 pages of a book that challenges or inspires you. Then write a short reflection in your journal. That small routine, done consistently, can have a bigger impact on your life than most people realize. Why? Because it trains your mind to be focused, thoughtful, and intentional. And those are the qualities that build a meaningful life. Most people underestimate the power of consistent, quiet habits. But over time, they become the foundation of growth. Reading introduces new ideas. Journaling helps you absorb and apply them. It's like planting a seed and then watering it every day. Eventually, you start to see the fruit. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, scattered, or uninspired, don't overlook these two tools. You don't need a miracle. You need to feed your mind and give your thoughts a place to live. Read something every day. Write something every day. And watch what happens to your thinking, your decisions, and your life. Number 6, set goals that transform you. If there's one habit that separates people who drift through life from those who live it with purpose, it's this. They set goals. But not just any goals. They set meaningful, intentional, transformational goals. Goals that don't just help them get things, but help them become someone better in the process. See, most people misunderstand goal setting. They treat it like a to-do list. Lose weight, make more money, travel more. But the real power of a goal isn't just in the result, it's in the growth. It's who you have to become to achieve it. That's where the transformation happens. The goal pulls you forward. It demands more from you. It stretches your limits, and that's a good thing. Think about this: setting a goal to run a marathon isn't just about crossing the finish line. It's about the habits you build, the discipline you develop, the mindset you adopt. You become stronger, more resilient, more focused. And even if you never run another race, those qualities stay with you. That's the real win. Let me tell you about James. He used to live paycheck to paycheck, always stressed about money. One day he decided to set a big goal, not just to earn more, but to become debt-free in 2 years. That goal forced him to change. He had to budget, learn about investing, and take on a side hustle. Along the way, he became financially educated, disciplined, and intentional. And once he hit that goal, he didn't stop. He kept growing. He started mentoring others and eventually launched a financial literacy course. James didn't just fix his finances, he reinvented his future. And it all started with one goal that pushed him to grow. Now, maybe you've tried setting goals in the past, but gave up halfway. That's okay. Most people do. But that doesn't mean you're not capable. It just means you haven't learned the right way to anchor your goals. So here's the key. Don't just set a goal around what you want. Set a goal around who you want to become. Ask yourself, what kind of person achieves this? Then start building those qualities. When the goal becomes about your identity, your motivation changes. You're not chasing a number, you're becoming someone new. Here's how to set powerful goals. First, get clear. Vague goals create vague results. Get in shape is vague. Run a 5K in 90 days is clear. Second, make it personal. It has to matter to you. Not your boss, not your family, not society. If it doesn't excite or challenge you, it won't last. Third, write it down. There's power in putting your goal on paper. It makes it real. It creates commitment. Fourth, review it often. Keep it in front of you. Remind yourself why you started. And finally, break it down. Big goals need small steps. Daily actions that lead you closer, one day at a time. One of the most motivating parts of a good goal is the promise it holds. The promise of who you'll be when you get there. When your goal is clear, and that promise is strong, the price, the effort, the discipline, the sacrifice feels worth it. But when the promise is blurry, the price feels too high. That's why so many people quit. They haven't connected their goal to a vision that inspires them. And here's one more thing. Don't set your goals too low. Don't just aim for what's comfortable or convenient. That won't grow you. Set goals that make you a little nervous. Goals that make you rise. You don't need to be reckless, but you do need to be bold. Small goals build habits. Big goals build character. You need both. So what's one goal you can set today that would challenge you to grow? Maybe it's to start your first side business. Maybe it's to wake up an hour earlier every day for a month. Maybe it's to write your first book, learn a new language, or finally get in shape. Whatever it is, don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now. And now is the best time to begin. Your goals shape your focus. Your focus shapes your actions. And your actions shape your life. So choose goals that mean something. Goals that call you to rise. Because when you pursue goals that stretch you, life rewards you, not just with the achievement, but with the becoming. Number 7, design your life or drift through it. If you don't design your life, someone else will do it for you. And here's the harsh truth. What they designed for you probably isn't much. That's not because people are out to get you, but because nobody else can dream your dreams. Nobody else knows what sets your soul on fire. That's your job. That's your responsibility. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or potential. They fail because they never decide. They don't decide what kind of life they want. They don't sit down and create a clear vision. Instead, they drift. They go where the wind blows, following trends, other people's expectations, or the path of least resistance. They wake up years later wondering how they ended up in a job they don't like, living in a place they didn't choose, surrounded by habits they never intended to build. And it all started because they never stopped to ask, What do I want my life to look like? Designing your life means taking ownership. It means becoming the architect, not just the occupant. It means sitting down with your thoughts, your hopes, your values, and laying the blueprint for your future. And no, it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be yours. Let me share the story of Maya. She worked in corporate marketing for 8 years. She was good at it, but she always felt a quiet restlessness, like she was living someone else's life. One day, after a long week of meetings, Maya asked herself a powerful question. If I could do anything, what would it be? That simple question became the seed of change. She started journaling every day, writing down what she truly wanted: creativity, flexibility, meaning. Slowly, she began taking online courses in design. She saved money. She built a portfolio. Within 2 years, Maya left her job and opened her own boutique branding studio. Today, she works with clients she loves, on projects she believes in, and she often says it wasn't talent or luck that got her there. It was finally sitting down and designing the life she truly wanted. Here's the truth. Life is always under construction, but you get to choose the blueprint. You get to decide what matters, what success means, what kind of legacy you want to leave. And once you've decided, you can begin building brick by brick, day by day. Start by defining your core values, what truly matters to you: freedom, family, growth, service, creativity. Your values are the compass for every decision you'll make. Next, imagine your ideal day. Not a fantasy vacation, but your regular day. What time would you wake up? What kind of work would you do? Who would you spend time with? Where would you live? What habits would shape your day? When you get clear on your ideal lifestyle, you can start designing toward it. Then, map out the key areas of your life: career, health, relationships, finances, spirituality, personal growth. Rate each one from 1 to 10. Which areas feel strong? Which ones feel neglected? This gives you a starting point. It shows you where the gaps are. It helps you set priorities. Now be ready for this. Once you design your vision, resistance will show up. People will question your decisions. Doubts will creep in. Fear will whisper, "What if you fail?" But stay grounded in your vision. Remember, this is your life, not theirs. And every bold life ever lived began with a bold decision: to live on purpose. You don't need to have it all figured out today, but you do need to stop drifting. Even a small course correction, made consistently, can take you to an entirely different destination. You're not stuck. You're not trapped. You're just a decision away from a new direction. The great thing about designing your life is that it gives meaning to your actions. You stop doing things just to stay busy. You stop chasing what doesn't matter, and you start living with intention. Every choice becomes a brick in the foundation of something you've chosen to build. So here's your challenge. Take 1 hour this week, just one, and sit down with a pen and paper. No distractions. Ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? Dream freely. Think boldly. Then write down 3 small steps you can take this month to start designing that life. Maybe it's waking up earlier. Maybe it's signing up for a class. Maybe it's having a hard conversation or saving your first $100. Whatever it is, start. Because if you don't build your life, life will build itself, and it may not be the one you want. Number 8, master the few things that matter. In a world full of noise, distraction, and constant motion, one of the most powerful things you can do is this: focus on what truly matters. You see, most people don't fail because they don't work hard. They fail because they spend too much time on the wrong things. They major in minor things. They stay busy, but not productive. They fill their days with activity, but they don't move the needle forward. And then they wonder why life feels overwhelming, yet underwhelming at the same time. The truth is, success, whether in your personal life, your career, or your relationships, isn't about doing more. It's about doing what matters more consistently. That means identifying the few things that actually make the biggest difference and making them a priority. This isn't about hustle culture or burning yourself out. It's about working smarter, not just harder. Let me tell you about Kyle. He was an artist, talented, passionate, but frustrated. He had a studio full of unfinished work, dozens of projects going at once, and barely enough income to pay his bills. He was always busy, but nothing was really moving forward. One day he sat down and asked himself a simple question: what are the few things that actually make a difference in my career? After some thought, he narrowed it down to 2: finishing and showcasing his best work, and building authentic connections with collectors and galleries. So he made a change. He dropped the distractions. He focused on fewer projects, but finished them with excellence. Within a year, he was exhibiting in respected spaces, making sales and gaining momentum. His secret: he mastered the few things that mattered. We live in an age of endless options. 1,000 things compete for your attention every day. Emails, notifications, opinions, opportunities. But here's what you need to know. Not everything deserves your energy. Not everything requires your presence. And not everything aligns with the life you want to build. That's why clarity is power. The clearer you are on what matters, the easier it is to say no to what doesn't. The 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle, teaches that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your actions. That means most of what you're doing right now might not be delivering the outcome you want. Imagine what would happen if you put more energy into the right 20%. The things that actually move your life forward. The habits that sharpen your skills, the relationships that grow you, the work that fulfills you. That's where your focus should be. So how do you identify the essentials? Start by looking at your goals and asking, what are the few key actions that actually get me closer to this? For example, if your goal is to get healthier, the key actions might be drinking more water, walking daily, and sleeping better. If your goal is financial freedom, it might be budgeting, building a high-income skill, and investing wisely. Everything else is just noise. The sooner you learn to separate the noise from the signal, the faster you'll move forward. This principle also applies to how you spend your time. Track it for a few days. Look at how much of your day is spent reacting instead of creating, consuming instead of building, multitasking instead of focusing. You might be shocked at how many hours are slipping away on things that don't feed your future. And here's the thing, you don't need more time. You need better use of the time you already have. Simplicity is a superpower. When your life is too full, your attention gets scattered. Your energy gets diluted. But when you simplify, when you choose a few things and give them your best, you start to see progress. And progress builds confidence. It builds momentum. It builds a good life. So here's a challenge. Identify the 3 most important areas in your life right now. Then, within each area, list 1 or 2 actions that truly matter. Not the fluff, not the busy work, the essentials. And then ask yourself, am I spending most of my time on these? Or am I distracted by everything else? Great lives aren't built by doing 1,000 things once. They're built by doing a few things thousands of times, with focus, with intention, with excellence. So don't try to be everywhere and do everything. Instead, be brilliant at what matters most. Number 9, pay the price. A good life doesn't happen by accident. It's not the result of luck, timing, or talent alone. It's the result of discipline. Those quiet, daily decisions that may not seem impressive in the moment, but compound over time into something extraordinary. If you want the rewards, you have to be willing to pay the price. And the price is usually simple. Daily disciplines, repeated consistently, even when you don't feel like it. Here's something to understand. Early, discipline isn't punishment. It's not about suffering or restriction. It's about structure. It's about doing what needs to be done, even when it's not convenient. Because the truth is, convenience rarely leads to greatness, but consistency does. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to say, I'll do it tomorrow. But if you say that too many times, tomorrow turns into next year. And one day you'll look back and realize that your dreams didn't slip away. They were postponed to death. Let me tell you about Marcus. He struggled with anxiety and a lack of direction in his 20s. Every day felt like a blur of distractions. Social media, video games, late nights, and zero routine. Then one day, a mentor challenged him to start waking up an hour earlier. Not to hustle, not to be productive, but simply to build discipline. Marcus committed. He used that extra hour to meditate, read, and journal. That one change became the foundation for a new mindset. Within a year, he had started a business, regained control of his health, and rebuilt his confidence. His success didn't start with a master plan. It started with a decision to show up every day, even when it was hard. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It's what gets you from vision to reality. And here's the thing. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing the right things consistently. Just like brushing your teeth doesn't take long, but protects you over time. Small habits done daily. Protect and build your life. But here's the challenge. We live in the age of distraction. Our attention is constantly pulled in every direction. There's always something to scroll, something to binge, something to react to, and distractions are easy. They feel good in the moment, but they steal your time, your focus, and your potential. That's why discipline matters more now than ever. It's your shield against a world that wants your attention every second of the day. The difference between the life you want and the life you have is often just a few disciplines away. Waking up earlier, moving your body, saving consistently, saying no to things that don't align, choosing focus over comfort. These are small things, but done consistently, they create big change. And don't confuse motivation with discipline. Motivation is great when it's there, but it's temporary. It comes and goes. Discipline is what shows up when motivation is gone. Discipline says, I don't feel like it, but I'm doing it anyway. That's where real growth begins. You don't need to change your entire life overnight. Start small. Pick one area where you want to grow and choose one daily action. Maybe it's writing for 15 minutes a day. Maybe it's replacing one unhealthy meal. Maybe it's spending 10 minutes in silence to clear your head. The point is to train yourself to follow through. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your confidence grows. You begin to trust yourself, and that trust builds momentum. Think of discipline like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The first few days will be hard. You'll want to quit. That's normal. But if you push through those early moments, it gets easier. Eventually, discipline turns into habit, and habit turns into identity. You're no longer someone who's trying to be consistent. You are consistent. It becomes who you are. A good life is made of small, wise decisions. Not once, but over and over again. It's showing up when it's raining. It's sticking to your budget when it's tempting to splurge. It's speaking kindly when you're frustrated. These are the decisions that build strength, build character, and build a life you're proud of. So ask yourself today, what's one discipline I've been avoiding? What's one daily decision I can start making that would move my life in the right direction? Don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Just begin. Number 10, build a philosophy that guides your life. Every person is guided by something. Whether we realize it or not, our choices, habits, and reactions are shaped by an internal compass. What we believe, what we value, and how we see the world. That compass is called your philosophy. And if you want to build a good life, you have to build a strong philosophy, because your philosophy is the foundation beneath everything else. It determines how you think, how you act, and ultimately, where you end up. Now, the word philosophy might sound big or academic, but it's actually simple. It's just your set of beliefs about life. It's how you answer the big questions. What matters most? What do I believe about success, failure, effort, growth, relationships, money, time? Your answers to those questions shape every decision you make. And here's the truth. You already have a philosophy. Everyone does. The real question is yours helping you or holding you back? When I was younger, I didn't even realize I had a philosophy. I just reacted to life. I thought I was unlucky. I thought life was happening to me, not for me. I blamed the economy, my past, other people, and for years, nothing changed, because I didn't change. Then one day, someone asked me, what if the problem isn't around you, it's within you? That question hit me hard. It made me realize I was living by a philosophy of limitation, not possibility. That was the beginning of a shift. I started reading, listening, reflecting, and slowly I began to rewrite the way I saw the world. I stopped saying I can't, and started saying, how can I? I stopped seeing failure as defeat and started seeing it as feedback. I stopped believing life owed me something and started taking responsibility. That shift in philosophy changed my energy, my actions, and ultimately my results. Let me share a story about David. He was working in retail, frustrated, burned out, and convinced life was unfair. He believed the system was rigged and that success was reserved for the lucky or privileged. Then someone gave him a book on personal development. At first he resisted, but curiosity got the best of him. He read it, then another, and slowly his thinking changed. He realized his philosophy had been one of blame and resentment. So he rebuilt it, brick by brick. He started believing in growth, effort, and ownership. Today, David owns 2 small businesses, mentors others, and says the biggest change wasn't his job or his income. It was his mindset. His life changed because his philosophy changed. Your philosophy doesn't have to be complex. It just has to be yours, and it has to be intentional. One of the best philosophies you can adopt is this: if I will change, everything will change for me. That single idea puts the power back in your hands. It means you're not a victim. You're not waiting on permission. You're in control of your growth. Another powerful belief to carry is life is hard by default, but it gets easier when I take responsibility. Because the more you accept ownership, the more options you create. And here's another one. Everything is a lesson, if I'm willing to learn it. With that philosophy, failure isn't a dead end, it's a teacher. So how do you build a strong life philosophy? Start by paying attention to your thoughts. What do you tell yourself when things go wrong? What do you believe about your potential, your worth, your future? Then question those beliefs. Are they serving you? Are they based on truth or fear? Next, start collecting better ideas. Read books. Listen to great minds. Surround yourself with people who live with purpose. Expose yourself to philosophies that challenge and uplift you. And as you learn, write down what resonates. Keep a journal. Build your own philosophy, one belief at a time. Remember, your philosophy is like the set of sails on a boat. The wind will always blow. Life will have challenges, storms, and surprises. But your philosophy determines your direction. Two people can face the same storm. One sinks, the other sails forward. The difference isn't the storm, it's the sails. So if you want to build a good life, don't just change your actions. Change the thinking behind them. Build a belief system that supports your vision, one that empowers you, one that helps you rise when life tries to pull you down. Because at the end of the day, your life won't rise above the level of your thinking. So here we are. You've just taken a journey through 10 powerful principles, 10 foundations for building a good life. Not a perfect life, not a life without setbacks or challenges, but a life filled with meaning, direction, growth, and fulfillment. And the truth is, that kind of life is possible. Not just for the lucky or the gifted, but for anyone willing to take ownership of their future. You've learned that you don't get paid for time, you get paid for value. That working harder on yourself than your job is the fastest way to change everything. That mistakes aren't the end. They're the beginning of wisdom, if you're willing to learn. You've seen the power of learning from others, the importance of feeding your mind, and the transformation that comes from setting goals that stretch you. You've discovered how to stop drifting and start designing your life. How to focus on what matters most, how discipline beats distraction, and how your personal philosophy shapes your entire direction. But now comes the most important part. What will you do with what you've learned? You don't need to have everything figured out. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start. One step, one decision, one habit, one moment of courage. That's how every good life is built. Day by day, choice by choice. Maybe today is the day you finally draw the line. The day you say, I'm done waiting, I'm done drifting, I'm ready to build. Because the good life isn't found, it's not handed out, it's built. And it's built by people who are willing to do the inner work, even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. So let this be your moment, your reset, your turning point. If you will change, everything will change for you. Your mindset, your habits, your income, your relationships, your peace, it all grows with you. The blueprint is in your hands now. Build something beautiful with it. Your good life is waiting. Go create it.